On Apollo 11, when the astronauts were descending to the lunar surface, they got this very strange computer alarm.
It's 1202 alarm. 1202 alarm.
Scientists have found some pretty strange stuff out in the universe. You are not going to believe it. From the sun changing its magnetic field to huge mountains and planets that may be supporting life, these finds are mind-boggling. The universe is full of mysterious objects and phenomena, so sit back and enjoy as we present some discoveries that will leave you questioning how much you know about space. From hydrocarbon lakes to planets with 3 suns, these discoveries will surely make your jaw drop. So without any more delay, let's get to it. Number 1. Polar flip. The sun in our sky usually looks the same unless clouds or Earth's atmosphere are in the way. But did you know that besides the nuclear explosions happening in the sun, there's something more going on? The sun has a pattern where its activity levels change over about 11 years, known as the solar cycle or Schwabe cycle. This cycle was discovered by tracking temporary dark spots on the sun's surface caused by intense magnetic activity. These spots start appearing away from the equator at the beginning of the cycle, known as the solar minimum. As the cycle progresses and the number of spots increases, they move towards the equator, and the sun's activity, like solar flares, solar winds, and coronal mass ejections, ramps up. When the activity reaches its peak, known as the solar maximum, the spots start to fade, returning to the solar minimum. What's even stranger is that during its peak of activity, the sun changes its polarity, causing the north and south poles to trade places. Although this polarity reversal happens every 11 years, scientists still don't fully understand what causes it. During the solar maximum, the increased solar activity isn't that dangerous to us since our Earth's magnetic field protects us from experiencing these effects directly, acting like a cosmic umbrella that deflects the solar storms, creating more frequent auroras, but it can disrupt communications and damage satellites. But hey, doesn't that make you wonder if Earth's poles can also reverse like that? They absolutely can and do, although far less frequently. Earth's poles reverse roughly once every 300,000 years on average. However, we are currently overdue for a polar reversal, as the last one occurred about 780,000 years ago. If Earth's magnetic field reverses, not only would compasses point south instead of north, but things could literally go south for humans too. Unlike the sun's quick pole reversal, Earth's reversal takes much longer, up to 1,000 years. During this time, the magnetic field weakens to about 10% of its current strength, making us more vulnerable to solar flares. This means no more dazzling northern lights. Instead, we would face increased radiation, leading to higher cancer rates and genetic mutations. While our atmosphere would still protect us from extinction, our modern technology would take a significant hit. Smartphones and GPS systems rely on Earth's magnetic field for navigation, and a small solar storm could wreak havoc on global communication systems without our magnetic field's protection. It would be tough, but humans would likely adapt over time. So would you want to live through a time when there might be auroras near the equator? Number 2. Day longer than year. Named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty, Venus is almost the same size and composition as our planet, also dubbed Earth's twin. However, similarities end there. The conditions on Venus are far from Earth-like. It is as if Venus took the wrong path after the solar system formed, becoming the wicked twin. Venus has the highest temperature of any planet in the solar system, making its acid rain evaporate before it reaches the ground. These severe temperatures are caused by the planet's extremely thick carbon dioxide atmosphere, which traps heat from sunlight and creates a greenhouse effect. The temperature of the surface of Venus hovers over 800 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead. If those facts haven't already made your jaw drop, wait until you hear this. A day on Venus lasts more than a year. A complete rotation of Venus on its axis takes about 243 Earth days, while it orbits the Sun in 224.7 Earth days. This unusual phenomenon occurs because Venus's dense atmosphere and 15-mile-high clouds, which travel at speeds over 200 miles per hour, create significant drag on its rotation. Additionally, Venus rotates in the opposite direction of most planets in our solar system, so the Sun rises in the west and stays up for more than a year. Though no one could survive in a world of storms and infernos with acid rain, however, hypothetically, if you were born on Venus, you would be a year old before you were a day old. Crazy, right? Number 3. Alien spacecraft. On October 19, 2017, the Pan-STARRS 1 telescope at the University of Hawaii discovered something very unusual. While our sun receives visits from comets in our own solar system every now and then, they discovered a cigar-shaped object arriving from outside our solar system. This object was given the name Oumuamua, which means a messenger from afar arriving first in Hawaiian, and it is the first reported interstellar visitor to our solar system. Oumuamua's shape and speed shocked scientists. It's around 400 meters long and 40 meters wide. This elongated shape was unlike anything seen in our solar system. It was also traveling at 87 kilometers per second, compared to the usual comet speed of approximately 19 kilometers per second. This drew the interest of conspiracy theorists, who quickly labeled it as an alien spaceship. The unusual variations in its brightness, suggesting it was rotating on more than one axis, made these theories seem more plausible. After swinging by the sun, Oumuamua's trajectory changed as it received a speed boost. Scientists explain this as likely caused by jets of gaseous material expelling from its surface. Even years later, as Oumuamua has left our solar system, it continues to confuse scientists. Nobody knows what it is made of or what it's doing now, as it disappeared from telescopes after January 2018. So what's your take? Do you think it was an alien spacecraft or just an asteroid from another planetary system? Number 4. Moon mysteries. The Orbiter 2 spacecraft entered the Moon's orbit 3 years before humans landed on it. It was designed to capture high-resolution images of the surface to help decide the landing site. 300 kilometers away from the landing site of Apollo, it took an image of an area on the Moon called the Sea of Tranquility that caught the eye of researchers. The image showed shadows of tall spires resembling some kind of monument. After some calculations, it was estimated that the highest spire was about 15 stories tall. With no atmosphere, our Moon is vulnerable to meteorites and has been bombarded by them since its formation. Also, it has been geologically dead for more than 1 billion years. So if these spires were natural, they should have collapsed from meteor impacts long before this image was taken. So, did the Moon have visitors before humans walked on its surface? And did NASA know about these structures? Conspiracy theorists claim that the Apollo 11 mission's computer alarm going off after the pilot opened the radar before landing is evidence they were trying to avoid these structures. They argue that if the Moon were flat, why would the radar be needed? Since then, the Moon has been mapped by multiple space agencies, and these structures are not part of the mainstream conversation anymore. Could it be a collective decision to cover up, or just an artifact that remains unexplained? Number 5. Scary Barbie. Did you know our solar system is about 30 trillion kilometers wide? Now imagine something 100 times bigger than that, actively glowing for more than 3 years. This explosion first appeared in 2020, but it wasn't considered extraordinary at the time, since its true brightness hadn't been estimated yet. However, a year later, when scientists calculated that it was about 8 billion light-years away, it stunned the entire scientific community. This was farther than any other flashes observed in the sky. Researchers initially thought it might be a supernova of a very big star, but when they crunched the numbers, they found it was 2 trillion times brighter than our sun, surpassing the brightness of any supernova recorded or theorized, making the supernova explanation impossible. This was the most powerful cosmic explosion ever witnessed. So what caused it? It turns out this was the event of a supermassive black hole devouring a star that got too close. In a brutal process called spaghettification, the black hole was extracting matter from a neighboring star. However, black holes can't completely absorb all this mass, so they shoot some of it into space, partially converting it into energy. The amount of energy emitted in this 2-year span was more than our sun could emit in 10 billion years, suggesting the star it engulfed was possibly 1,000 times larger than our sun. Typically, explosions from black holes consuming stars last for several weeks at most, but this one lasted for more than 2 years. Fortunately, the closest black hole to us is still more than 5,000 light-years away and very unlikely to devour our solar system. Number 6. Cryovolcano. When you think of volcanoes, the first thing that comes to mind is probably their intense heat, right? However, in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter lies a dwarf planet Ceres, which has volcanoes like nothing you can imagine. When the Dawn spacecraft went to investigate the surface of Ceres, it discovered a mountain equivalent in size to Mont Blanc, the highest peak in the Alps. Bright streaks run down its slopes, marking this as a mountain of its own kind. It is a salty ice dome formed from the magma of a cryovolcano, which literally means a cold volcano. This volcano releases icy materials accompanied by water mixed with ammonia or methane, and can be as cold as -200 degrees Celsius, more than twice as cold as Antarctica in winter. This icy dome, named Ahuna Mons, is the nearest cryovolcano to the Sun. So, while on Earth, you can only burn in magma. Elsewhere in the solar system, there are ice volcanoes that can freeze you to death. Number 7. Mysterious star. Have you ever wondered how researchers discover exoplanets when all you can see are stars in the night sky? Well, they take images of a star at various periods to look for any drop in brightness caused by an exoplanet passing in front of the star. Normally, a planet blocking some light results in a brightness dip of less than 1%, but the data from Tabby's star was something very unusual. Its brightness dipped by up to 22% at times, which is unlike any other star. With no apparent reason and an unpredictable pattern, these unusual light fluctuations sparked some interesting theories. Initially, it was thought that dust clouds or a swarm of comets might be the cause, but this explanation was dismissed because an unusually high amount of mass would be needed to cause such a significant dimming. So where could that come from? One possibility suggested was a disintegrating exomoon that had separated from its planet, creating a gigantic cloud of dust and debris. Other plausible theories were also proposed. However, a theory that has attracted attention is the idea of a Dyson sphere, a hypothetical megastructure built by an advanced civilization to capture energy from the star. If this is the case, it would be evidence that we are not alone in the universe. Although scientists consider this the least possible explanation, after years of investigation and unsuccessful attempts to find other stars with similar behavior, it is clear that Tabby's star is still a mystery. It serves as a reminder that our universe is full of phenomena we have yet to understand. Number 8. Crab Nebula. A nebula in space is a shining cloud of dust and gas thrown out by the explosion of a dying star, such as a supernova. One of the most studied nebulae is the Crab Nebula, which is the remnant of a star that exploded way back in 1054 AD, and it was so bright that it could be seen during the day for an entire month. The Crab Nebula is not only a stunning spectacle in the sky, but there is also something curious lurking at its center, a pulsar, which is a rapidly spinning dense neutron star with a powerful magnetic field that energizes the nebula and makes it glow. Now almost 1/3 of our solar system, the Crab Nebula is expanding at the speed of 600 miles per second because of the intense electromagnetic field created by the rapid rotation of the pulsar, causing jets of matter and antimatter to move away from both poles of the pulsar. This may be the formation of a new solar system which might support life at some point being witnessed by Earth, or maybe it already has. Because it's 6,500 light-years away, what we get to witness today is something that happened 6,500 years ago and is only reaching us now. Number 9. Methane oceans. Earth is the only planet in our solar system that has liquid on its surface, but it is not alone when you consider all celestial bodies floating in our solar system. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, also has liquid on its surface. However, unlike Earth, Titan's liquid is mostly made up of methane and ethane. Titan's surface characteristics include seas, rivers, and bays that resemble those found on Earth. But that's not all. Evidence suggests that beneath Titan's thick ice crust lies an ocean made of water. According to our understanding of life, there could potentially be simple organisms living in these water oceans. Additionally, there could be different types of organisms surviving on hydrogen. If Titan has life, it would be very different from what we know, considering the extremely low temperatures there. It's exciting to think we might end up discovering extraterrestrial life upon further exploration of Saturn. Number 10. Fast radio bursts. Within our observable universe, there are around 2 trillion galaxies, and our galaxy alone has around 100 billion planets. So it would be foolish to consider that no intelligent life exists somewhere else. Maybe they do, maybe they are more advanced than we are, and maybe they are attempting to communicate with other types of life as well. Scientists have been trying to detect signals, and one of the commonly recorded signals is fast radio bursts, or FRBs, which are millisecond-long radio waves originating from distant galaxies. Though most detected FRBs originate from neutron stars, something mysterious happened on July 2022. A weird FRB was detected that repeated every 3 seconds, which is 1,000 times longer than any typical FRB. Within those 3 seconds, there were bursts of high-intensity radiation occurring every 0.2 of a second. If this unique pattern didn't shock you enough, it gets even stranger. The origins of these signals are unclear, along with how far they have traveled. Even though it is suggested they have come from a different galaxy, their intensity is 1,000,000 times greater than neutron stars in our own galaxy. So we might not know anytime soon if these were some kind of signal from extraterrestrial life or another strange cosmic phenomenon we are unaware of yet. Number 11. 3 suns. Tatooine from Star Wars is a super cool fictional planet and an example of human creativity with its 2 suns in the sky. But our universe can be even more amazing. In the constellation of Centaurus, there is a star system with 3 suns and a planet where you could watch all 3 of them rising and setting on the same day during a significant part of its orbit. This planet should not exist because its orbit is such that should have caused it to be expelled by the gravitational forces of the stars, but it somehow survives. The planet itself is 4 times the size of Jupiter and orbits a bluish-white giant that is twice the size of our Sun. This giant star is also orbited by 2 smaller stars whirling around each other like a spinning dumbbell. So not only does this planet get to see 3 sunsets and sunrises, but it also has a continually changing sunscape. This planet's complete orbit takes about 550 Earth years, with a quarter of that time aligned in such a manner that daylight never ends. As the main star is about to set, the 2 smaller stars rise. It's safe to say that when it comes to being creative, the universe never disappoints. Number 12. TRAPPIST-1. Our solar system has 4 rocky planets, of which only 2 are in the habitable zone and only 1 contains life. With those odds, let me introduce you to the solar system of the red dwarf star TRAPPIST-1, which has 7 Earth-like rocky planets closely located to it, and 3 of them are in the habitable zone. However, one problem is that all of these planets are tidally locked to their star, meaning one side of the planet is always facing the star while the other side remains in constant darkness. The first planet in the habitable zone, TRAPPIST-1d, is believed to have 250 times more water than Earth. However, it's not as heavy as expected for its size, making it less likely to have a thick atmosphere. Despite this, tidal heating could support life in its oceans. TRAPPIST-1e is considered the most Earth-like planet and might have a thick atmosphere. But apart from being tidally locked to their star, it is also important to remember that their star is a red dwarf. Red dwarfs are very active and release solar flares several times a day. So if humans were ever to live there, they would need to create shelters to protect themselves from solar activity. Would you like to stay in a place where the sun never sets? Number 13. Gas Giant's Wonder. Jupiter, the gas giant of our solar system, has been taking care of asteroids and comets like a big brother protecting our rocky planet. When the Juno spacecraft captured some images of Jupiter from closer than ever, it left everyone with their jaws dropped. The clouds, spanning more than 70 kilometers in height and containing plumes of sulfur and phosphorus, give off some vivid colors and stripes. Those spots, including the infamous Great Red Spot, are massive storms. Juno found more Earth-sized storms at both Jupiter's north and south poles, and these storms are more chaotic and compelling than previously thought. Juno also discovered shallow lightning high up in the planet's atmosphere caused by ice crystals and ammonia colliding. Made up of ammonia ice, These top clouds resemble frosted cupcakes. It's like the universe used all its artistic expression to design Jupiter. Number 14. Biggest mountain. Among the 4 rocky planets of our solar system, Earth is the biggest, so you might think it must have the highest mountain too. However, Mars, which is just a bit over half the size of Earth, has a volcano mountain that is more than twice the height of Everest and covers an area larger than France, making it the largest mountain in our solar system. Olympus Mons is so big and wide that it looks like a pimple on the Martian terrain when observed from above. The reason behind its extraordinary size is that Mars has a fixed crust, unlike Earth's moving tectonic plates. This fixed crust stayed over a hotspot that kept erupting for billions of years, discharging lava that built up into the gigantic volcanic shield. Even though it took billions of years to form, the surface of Olympus Mons doesn't have many crater impacts, suggesting the volcano is still relatively young, with the last eruption happening around 25 million years ago. Trekking on Olympus Mons might be possible at some point in the future, but doing so without any vehicle would leave you far from the peak, even after days of hiking. Number 15. Super Earth. Everything about our planet is so perfectly aligned to sustain life that for years, researchers kept looking for exoplanets with similarly favorable conditions, but couldn't find one until they discovered Ross 128b. In the constellation of Virgo, 11 light-years away, Ross 128b orbits an M-type star. Despite being super close to its star, this exoplanet remains in the habitable zone because its star is smaller and cooler than our Sun. Ross 128b might have conditions for life that are even more suitable than Earth's. Its warmer regions have temperatures around 20 degrees Celsius, while its colder poles are around -60 degrees Celsius, which is less cold than Earth's poles. Its similarities to Earth are uncanny, with a radius just 1.1 times that of Earth and a mass 1.4 times heavier. Although researchers are still unsure about its atmosphere, the only factor left to determine its habitability, it's exciting to know that the second nearest rocky exoplanet to Earth has such promising conditions. With further exploration, we might find extraterrestrial life living on this exoplanet. With advancements in technology to travel faster than we can now, do you think this planet could be our second home? Number 16. Fiery rain. Our Sun is continuously going through fusion reactions, acting like a massive nuclear reactor. Every once in a while, it goes out of control with eruptive events like solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and magnetic field lines, forming complex, moving structures. In 2012, the Solar Dynamics Observatory recorded the Sun producing all 3 events at the same site. It started with a solar flare, followed by a CME. Then, the formation of an invisible magnetic loop forced the charged plasma to move along the magnetic lines, creating a stunning show of a fiery loop. In this event, coronal mass from the Sun can be seen raining down on the surface too. For reference, this rainbow-shaped magnetic loop is taller than 5 times the diameter of Earth. It's kind of terrifying, but also mesmerizing how such a majestic thing can be so dangerous that it could potentially end life on Earth. Number 17. Jupiter misunderstood. Did you know that the combined mass of all the planets in our solar system, excluding Jupiter, would be less than half of Jupiter's mass? Jupiter is so huge and significant in our solar system that if it were to leave, the orbits of the other planets would become unstable, and the end of the solar system would be here. However, even if all other planets were removed and only Jupiter remained, the solar system would continue to exist. Normally, it is thought that all planets orbit the Sun. However, in space, 2 bodies always orbit their barycenter, or the center of mass, of both bodies. The planets' masses are so small in comparison to the Sun that the barycenter is usually located at the center of the Sun. But this is not the case with Jupiter. Due to Jupiter's distance from the Sun and its massive size, the actual point of rotation, the barycenter, lies outside the Sun. So the Sun itself orbits this barycenter, meaning the Sun orbits Jupiter, albeit to a very small extent, similar to binary stars. Many people are fascinated by the idea of Jupiter being a failed star, considering the composition of Jupiter is very similar to the Sun. But despite its composition and massive size, Jupiter is unable to be classified as a star since it would need to be 80 times more massive to qualify. Star or not, one thing is necessary for our continued existence. Jupiter must remain where it is. With that, our journey through the wonders of space comes to an end. Which discovery left you most shocked? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this coming your way. Until then, goodbye.